Hey everybody, this is Legendary Beats here. Welcome to another episode on Legendary Promo TV, brought to you by LegendaryBeatsOnline.com. Today we're going to be talking about or answering a question that was brought to me by one of the artists on my Facebook fan page at facebook.com/legendarybeats, and his question was about sampling. He's a producer. Oh, he's not an artist, he's a producer. He was asking, when is sampling too much, or how much sampling is too much? So let me read out his question. This is from Glenn. His question is, when can I draw the line on whether I can or can't use a similar sounding beat as someone else's? I don't want to infringe copyright. I also want to make my new beat sound different, but incorporate some small aspects of the original rhythm. Is this allowed? When do I draw the line? Alright, great question, Glenn. My take on this is that in recent news, you see that Jay-Z and Beyonce got sued for copyright infringement. We see that Thicke got sued for copyright infringement because their producer made a beat that had too much similarities to someone else's tracks, or it actually contained a full portion of someone else's track without acquiring rights for it. Now, if you realize in both of these cases, as far as I know, you can do the research and correct me if I'm wrong, as far as I know, the producer was not penalized for this. Only the artist who was performing on the new work that they created. And how it works in the music industry is that how these artists get paid is based off of royalties. It's not usually a one sum, a form of payment. So to make this easier, what I would say is, if I have a product, if someone has a product on the market, Home Depot has a product on the market, and I'm an independent contractor, and I could make something like Home Depot, but I'm working individually with you directly. So what I do is I assemble the product. It's pretty much exactly the same thing as Home Depot, but I only charge you one price. I charge you a flat sum of probably $20, whatever. Now, is it right? Would Home Depot now come and sue me? Not entirely. What they're gonna do is, if you were to go and take the product that I sold you, which is almost the same as Home Depot's, and you were to sell it, getting royalties off of it by every time someone sells that product, you're getting a cut out of it, and you get big enough, usually it's about 1,000 sales or so, and it gets big, that's when Home Depot's gonna be like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? You can't be doing this. And they're not going to go after me, the person who made it. I just made it once, I gave it to you, you have full ownership of it, and you went ahead and tried to gain royalties off of that product. Same thing happens with music. In the music industry, most of these artists work off of royalty base. Now, with royalties, you usually want to get royalties off of your new work. Your new work means that you purchased a beat, or you had a beat made, or you made the beat, then you recorded your own vocals on that beat. Usually you would acquire rights from the producer by either purchasing or agreeing on a royalty split, or someone gave you a beat and you wrote lyrics to it, or you or a ghostwriter, whatever your production value was towards that. Now, the issue that a lot of producers have is that, oh, is it wrong for me to sample beats or to use similar sounding attributes of other beats? Not entirely. Realize that hip hop was based off of sampling. And I think Don Jarvis, he's a great producer. He's a producer of 5starbeats.net. He stated a quote, "Everything is a remix of everything else." So realize that no matter how much unique you want to try to be in the industry, some things that you do is based off of what you heard in when you were younger, or last week or last month or whatever. It's something that's instilled in your mind, and all you did was add your little style to it to make it a little different. But someone usually is always able to categorize it and put it in a category based on that style. But there's only a few producers who have made a unique sound for themselves, and even their unique sound, as I said, is still based off of some other aspect of an artist or a producer. So pretty much the answer I would say is that unless you copy the whole song and it sounds exactly like that song, then obviously you didn't really produce anything. You pretty much are back at square one. It's pretty much like you're playing the same track over, and all you did was recreate it with the same sounds and the same sequence. That makes no sense. If you hear a lot of people say that, then maybe you should recheck yourself before you release it. But going back to the original question, with all these artists who are now being sued by the original artist because their producer used portions of someone's original music without getting the rights, the producer was never, penalized. They were never sued for it. Only the artist performing the new work. So it's up to the artist to clear all those rights. Now, if you're working with a label, I know DJ Payne spoke about this. If you are working with the label usually pays you an upfront sync cost. I believe it's called a sync cost for you to do the work. And what they would do is, if it's a sampled beat, they would go ahead and find out how much it's going to cost to get the rights for that sample to be used. So you as a producer, you're out of that loop. Once they pay you, pretty much they're not coming back to you to ask you insight on whether they should go and pay the money to clear it. They're going to clear it to take care of their artists. So all these stories that you're hearing about artists getting sued for using sampled work and not clearing it, that's bad management. It's up to the responsibility of the management to make sure that those samples are cleared and to ensure that artist is covered for using that track. Because at the end of the day, if the original person hears that you're using their track without knowing or without their permission, they're gonna sue you. Obviously, you're a big artist. If I'm a little guy, I'm definitely gonna sue you if you use some of my work without asking me, and I'm gonna get a lot of money for it, and I'm going to win every time. So it's important that a producer knows what their rights are, and it's important for the artist to know what their rights are. Now, if the artist doesn't know what their rights are, then that's kind of on the fault of the artist. Just because you're an artist doesn't mean that you should remain ignorant to what the law is. You should at least try to know something. Jay-Z, surprisingly, him and Beyonce, I'm surprised that they actually had this happen to them. Maybe there was a miscommunication, who knows, but that shouldn't happen to big name artists like that. It shouldn't happen to artists like Robin Thicke. It shouldn't happen to artists like Beyonce and Jay-Z. Doesn't make sense in my books. Maybe it was a communication issue. To answer your question, Glenn, and to answer this type of question for all other artists and producers, it's okay to use samples. In my opinion, just try to flip the sample as much as possible so it seems a little different and no one can actually know or figure out what the original sample is. We have upcoming producers like DJ Payne. We have T Customs, a lot of other producers online who have used sampled beats, and that's all that they make, and there's nothing wrong with that. They know what their rights are, and they educate their artists to know what their rights are as well when they use their instrumentals. So I think that's very important. But yeah, Glenn, there's nothing wrong with using samples in your beats or using similar ideas. Just make sure that if you're using it, that it sounds like you and it doesn't sound completely like that person, because then you're not really doing anything as a producer. A producer is supposed to get inspiration and create it into something beautiful for themselves and for the artist that's going to be working on there. So I hope that helps. Question of the day: are you a producer that uses a lot of samples? And if so, would you ever consider making custom beats? If you're a producer who likes to sample, drop your links down below. If you're a producer who likes custom music and making everything from custom, also put your comments down below and let me know why you like doing that. Alright, this has been an episode from Legendary Beats. This is Legendary Promo TV. Love to see you on my fan page at facebook.com/legendarybeats. Keep your eyes out for the new episodes. Make sure you subscribe to this page, like, and comment. Alright, I appreciate you guys. Remember to be you, be legendary. I'm out. Peace.